goes for either person. So go back, read it again, write it down, go over it until you get to a place where you have full understanding that you are placing your life in jeopardy. Okay, you are basically entering death row when you make that decision to sleep with another person. And so many people casually walk into that as if, oh, well, everybody else is doing it. Oh, well, everybody else is doing it. It's fine. Oh, well, this person's doing it. It's fine. Or this person's been doing it and getting away with it. It's fine. Or this person's been doing it for many, many, many years. It's fine. And it is not fine, y'all. It is not fine. It is not fine. All right. I also want to pull some points out from this chapter 2 to encourage my wives, but also to warn them. Okay. So you may hear me talking about this monkey on your back. I talk about the monkey on the back, and I was supposed to bring my monkey up here to show y'all, but I ain't get into that. I talk about that monkey being on your back. Okay. And I use it as a metaphor. Okay. But I want to share with you what the spiritual meaning of the monkey is related to, okay? It says the spiritual meaning of the monkey is related to tricks. The spirit animal might get into your life, turning up suddenly. The spirit monkey wants you to be aware that playing tricks on others has consequences. And so a lot of times, and I know this might be a little bit deeper for some than others, but as a marriage coach, and like I said, when I speak to my clients and couples, I don't just do surface teaching. I like to share with them about the spiritual side of things, just because that's what a lot of people are feeling at. People think that their marriage is jacked up because of what's happening in the natural, and a lot of times people's marriages are jacked up because of the things that are taking place in the spiritual realm. All right. And so one of the spiritual animals is the monkey, and the monkey represents tricks. Okay, represents tricks. When the monkey jumps on a husband's back, all right, I want to break this down a little bit. When the monkey jumps on a husband's back, that what I'm literally saying is he is caught up in a realm that only through prayer, fasting, and the grace of God can pull him out. Okay, only prayer, fasting, and the grace of God can pull him out. When that monkey jump on his back, he is no longer your husband. He is no longer operating in his natural self. He is no longer who you see in front of you. He is somebody else. He is caught up in another realm, and he has no idea that he's there. All right. Usually he is led by this invisible creature, knowing or not knowing. Okay. Maybe he knows it. Maybe he hasn't admitted to it or whatever. Okay. And so he is caught up in this realm. Too deep to get out of it. Too deep to get out of it on his own, because he thinks is quote unquote what everybody else is doing. That doesn't necessarily mean that he will come out of this. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean that he will come out of this. Everybody's situation is different, and I share advice all the time. If you are a praying wife, okay. And this is why the devil just hate me so much, because I tell what's going on. If you are a praying wife and you are connected to God and you are on your knees praying for your spouse and you are believing God to reconcile your marital relationship, and you have heard from God and God has told you and has given you the go that your marriage is a clear. Listen, whatever he is into, he's got to come out of it. Okay, whatever he's into, he's got to come out of it. But what wives need to really understand up front is when this happens, when this takes place, he is no longer his normal self. Okay, he is caught up in some other type of realm. If you can picture like the aroma in the air, and a person following that smell until they find it. That's the sin of adultery. It's kind of like, those cartoons when you see like, Tom and Jerry or whatever, they like the lady picked the pie out and like they can smell that aroma and they like fall in that aroma or whatever. And so they keep on going until like nobody can like get to them. Like their mind and their attention is on that smell. They're trying to get to that. Okay. It smells good. It may smell good. All right. And even when you see it, it may look good. Sin always start off like that. It always start off, oh, it look good, it smell good, it might not be so bad. All right, I'm just gonna try it out a little bit. I'm just gonna just see what's gonna happen. I'm gonna just try and see what's gonna happen. All right, but one time leads to two times leads to three times lead to a trinity of times, and now you are out of control. You're completely out of control. You have now got caught up in this trap. The monkey has jumped on your back. All right. And you are in full bondage. A lot of people think that when a person is when a person is walking in this type of sin, they can just break free from it. They cannot. They cannot. It's not like I'm going to just tiptoe over here and just see what this is about, and then I'm going to bounce back out. No, you cannot. That's not how that go. You don't get to just enter into sin and just tiptoe out. The evil one is not going to let you just tiptoe out that easily, all right? It just don't happen like that. In my opinion, this is Coach T's opinion, all right? This is my opinion. This is why, and this is probably going to be hard for some wives. Like I say, I always like to tell people, put my little disclosures up. I'm not everybody's wife, Coach. I'm only his wife, Coach. But in my opinion, this is why I believe God tells some wives not to leave their husbands. I believe this is why God tells some wives not to leave their husbands, but to forgive them, and to stay in their marital covenant. All right. Even though biblically, they have that right to X out of their marriage covenant based off of what Matthew 19:9 says, which Christ excused, divorce on account of sexual sin. Okay, it gives you an exit, but God still hates divorce. Okay, God still hates divorce. But I do believe, in my opinion, I'm not saying this is what it say. I'm saying this is why I feel like God allows some wives to stay in that marriage, because that husband need that wife's prayers. Okay, God's heart is that divorce should never happen. Okay, God's heart is that divorce should never happen. This is why I always emphasize to wives, it's a fixed fight. Okay, your marriage is already healed. Your marriage is already reconciled. You got to just walk through the chambers to get there. Okay, you got to just walk through it to get to where you got to get to. All right, and so God's heart is he hates divorce. He absolutely hates divorce. Okay, but human hearts are hard and sinful. If a woman or man commits a sexual sin, Jesus allows that law permits divorce. Okay, that can happen. All right, that can happen. This is hard when a husband, shows no remorse or either both about the affairs or wrongdoings in this area. So let's just say God has told you, I don't want you to divorce this person. I want you to sit it out. I want you to forgive them. I want you to, take the low ride. I want you to chill on this. Don't say nothing to him. Leave him alone. Let it be. All right. This is very hard to do. This is very hard to do when you are dealing with a unhealthy spouse, because usually you have to understand, even when a spouse or a husband is responding in that way, you have to understand they are not in the right state of mind. Like you should know from them responding in that way that something is wrong. That monkey is on their back. If a husband is not showing no type of remorse of his wrongdoings in that area, shows like, I'm doing it, and this is what I do, if he's showing no type of remorse, you have to immediately take into account, and that's hard to do, but you have to immediately take into account something is wrong with this person. Either something is wrong with this person or something is definitely wrong with me. All right. That monkey is on their back. All right. And so this furthermore confirms how that monkey has tricked them. And only the prayers of the righteous can save them and help get them out of this pit, because they are in a pit. Okay. They are in a pit. During this season of their life, the husband is blinded. He's high off of sin. And this is one of the reasons why I talk and share about with wives, like I said, about witchcraft. It's important that wives understand and have an understanding of witchcraft. A lot of people don't like to get into that. They, witchcraft is superstitious type of thing or whatever. But you really, really would do yourself a service by investing in really studying it and really learning about that, because some of the things that you will find out in that area, you will be very, very, very surprised. All right. It's important for wives to get a full understanding of witchcraft and that witchcraft spirit. A husband can be so drawn into his adulterous sin, not knowing or realizing that this person that he's in dealings with, has been sent by an evil agent. Okay, that person has been sent by an agent, and they won't even know. Okay, they won't even know. She has cast a love spell on him and is driving him into an early grave. Okay, she has cast a love spell on him and is driving him to an early grave. And a lot of people thinking, people don't think that far out. The people don't think oh no, he wrong and he know what he doing and this and that and this and that. And you have to understand, they are caught up in another realm. That monkey is on their back. They are no longer operating in their normal state of mind. They are no longer operating in their normal state of mind. They are caught up in something else. And a lot of times you have to, especially like I said, if a person's not remorse and they continue in it and they continue to, something is wrong. Something is wrong. Okay. Most of the time, you have some, husbands, they admit to their wrongdoing. They'll try to make changes and they'll change. Sometimes they'll admit their wrongdoing, apologize, and then go back to that sin. They'll go back to that sin, which means deliverance wasn't, hadn't fully taken place. And so this is why it's so important for wives when this come about. And listen, I'm here to tell you, it ain't nothing easy about that, okay? I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you're going to just be, okay, well, he's cheating. All right, let's see how we're going to work through this. No, you're going to need a minute, okay? If you don't be to knock something over by then. If you don't be able to knock something over and be able to have a fit, okay? You're going to need a minute. You're not going to just get there. God has to help you to get to that place, okay? God has to really help you to get that place. But it's very important for wives to understand there are such things as love spells. There are such things as a person putting something on you. There are such things as evil agents being sent to destroy a person's family in a household. There is such things. Okay, there is such things. Okay. You have to also understand that this person that he's in contact with, he's in dealings with, is feeding him his greatest desires and fantasies. This person is going to do everything that he wish you would have done. She's going to give him everything that he's not getting from you or feel like he's not getting from you. She's everything to him during this time and some. Okay, she's everything that he will want. Okay, your husband becomes hypnotized by her. All right, he becomes hypnotized by this person, and he's not himself. He's somewhere else. And I can't emphasize that enough. That when a husband go off to behave in this way, something has taken place. Okay, something has taken place, and you need to rule it out. It could be a sorcery spirit, which is witchcraft. It can be some type of evil, some type of evil agent that has been sent. It can be some kind of demonic spirit that has taken. It can be something, okay, or it can just be him just trying something different, trying something out, and then got caught up in something and don't know how to get himself out. Because once you step over here and on these side of the parks, you're not gonna just walk away that easy, okay? You're not gonna just say, okay, I done had enough of this. Now I'm gonna back on up and go back home to my family or whatever. It's not gonna happen like that. It's not gonna be that easy. All right. And so the husband becomes hypnotized by this person, okay, until his wife shows up. All right. And this is why it's so important for wives to really make time to invest in themselves and get to a healthier place, because you're not going to be able to be what you need to be for your husband if you're not in a healthier place. If you have not worked on yourself, if you have not been spending time with God, you're not going to be, if you're going to respond different, you're going to respond anyways, because first of all, anybody got time for that. Okay. You tried it. So you're going to respond anyways. But if you're walking with God and if you're walking with Christ, God can help you through it a little bit easier. It's nothing easy about it, but it would be a little bit more easier if you allow God and the Holy Spirit to guide you and lead you and show you what the steps to take that you need to do. Okay. The reason why his wife has to show up and get him out of this pit, because she's the only one who can do it. She's the only one who can do it. All right. Why? Because his wife has authority. His wife has rights to their covenant, all right? She is in covenant with her husband. She will be the only person who can pull her husband out of this pit. And this is why I say, and this is my opinion, why I believe that God allows certain marriages to stay connected, even if it's not right, even if it's not healthy, even if it's not good, even if adultery has taken place. I believe that God does that because he knows if that person continue on this path, he is going to die. Okay, he is going to die. A lot of wives never get to this place because they feel, one, they have been wrong, which is natural. That's normal. That's a normal feeling, that, I've been wrong. Two, they get caught up in their feelings, which is natural, which is normal. Okay. You've been violated in this area, in this space. Of course, you're going to feel, you're going to be in your feelings about that. All right. And then three, they feel entitled. And yes, entitlement does come up when something like this. How dare you? You have the audacity. She don't even, it's all natural. It's all normal. It's all part of the process, but you got to get out of that. You got to get past that, especially if God is calling you. And this is, I never forget Montel Jordan's wife, at our church. She shared that, she shared her testimony about that. And she basically, said that, when Montel had came to her and, and spoke to her and, expressed, what was going on, whatever, she had to make a decision. And the best thing for her to do at that time was for her to get away from him. You have to, listen, get away from him because something's going to happen if you don't. I'm the one to tell you. Something's going to happen if you don't. But get away from him and really go see what it is that God wants you to do. And that would be, and I know that sounds so like who does that? Anybody doing that? That's not your first response, but that really should be your first response. When this type of news has come about and when you have got notice about this or whatever, you really need to go to God quickly. You need to get into God's presence quickly because you need to know and hear what God is, is telling you to do. Now, I'm not going to even sit here and tell you that what God tell you, you might like it. You might not like what he say. God gonna tell you something. You gonna be like, wait a minute, no, this is not Jesus. Something about this don't even make sense to me. You say, what now? Did I hear you right? Okay, so you may not necessarily even be okay with God's response, but the best thing that you can do, wife, is go get in commune with God quickly. Okay, go get in commune with God quickly. So a lot of times what end up happening is, if people don't, spend that time with God, or people don't make a decision to invest in themselves, or people don't, go and try to get the necessary help that they need for their marriage. So many people talk about, well, it takes two. And I love what my client said today. What she shared, she said, yes, it does take two. It takes that, a wife. Because if it's not the husband, it takes that wife and it takes God. Okay, that's your two. It takes that wife and it takes God. It does take two. Okay, the Bible talks about that three-chord strain. So when you get married, you're not just marrying your husband. If you have accepted Jesus Christ as your personal savior, you have placed Christ in the center of your marriage. You're getting married to God as well. Okay, you get married to God as well, and so God is in that marriage with you. So you have to understand why you're not fighting on your own, and wives have to get to that place. Like it sounds so, okay, like it sounds like that, but when you think about that, when you're in the middle of something hard, you ain't thinking like that. But it's true. You're not fighting by yourself. And listen, I used to tell my husband all the time when he would come and try it with the foolery. I would tell him, I'm not doing this by myself. I'm not doing this by myself. Okay. I'm not doing it by myself. I said, so whatever you decide to do, whichever way you decide to go, you have to understand that I am not doing this by myself or whatever. And then you have to learn how to shut up, because a lot of times Coach T didn't know how to shut up and I would go back and forth with him. But you have to learn how to get it out, say what you got to say, and then keep it moving. Okay. So it's important. You have to know, wife, that you are not fighting. If God is telling you to do something like this, he's going to give you what you need. He's going to give you the tools. He's going to put the people in your life. He's going to place you on the right path for you to get whatever you need to get through this. Okay. This is what he's going to do. And so a lot of times, a lot of wives don't make it. A lot of couples don't make it. A lot of marriages don't make it. Instead, you had that one broken person. Now you have two broken people. Now you done broke up a family. Now you done broke up a household. Now that, everybody went their own separate ways. Divorcing took place, and both y'all still messed up. Okay, it didn't solve anything. You still have, whatever going on. And I'm not on here to say that sometimes God doesn't tell people to depart from that person. Like I said, if sexual sin has taken place in the marital covenant, yes, you have that choice. And sometimes God doesn't necessarily tell you to stay. He doesn't necessarily tell you to stay. Okay, so you do have that choice. But maturity, faith, and a relationship with God is what you need in a situation like this. Okay, you need a relationship with God. You need a relationship with Christ. You need to be able to know how to get to Jesus. Okay, I tell my premarital couples this all the time. Somebody got to know how to get to Jesus, because when hell come knocking at your door, because it will, when stuff start to happen, because it is, somebody got to know how to get to Jesus. Okay, both y'all can be crazy up in that piece. Somebody got to know how to get to Jesus. All right, you need a relationship with him. Okay, maturity has to take place. This is why I emphasize why it's taking workshops and getting involved in groups and investing into themselves and getting the necessary tools that they need to be a better them. Work on some of those self-control issues. Work on some of that those insecure issues. Work on some of those unbalanced emotions. Work on some of that stuff, because you have to know that this is a battle that you're in. The enemy not gonna just give you your husband back. Okay, he ain't gonna just roll over and say, okay, here you go. No, it's not gonna happen like that. It's work. It's work. And only the ones who go to the end, only the ones that survive to the end, they the one get to the finish line. Paul talks about the race is not given to the one that's the fastest or the strongest, but it's to the one who endures to the end. You have to endure. You can be strong, you can be fast, you can be all those things, but that ain't gonna necessarily make you win this race. Okay, so you need that. You need your relationship with Christ. You need maturity. You need faith. You're not going to be able to handle a unsubmissive, stubborn, addictive, non-available husband if you don't have Christ in your life. And even with you having Christ in your life, you have to know that that God is working on your behalf. You got to know that you can trust God at his word. You have to be able to go back to some of those times when he done told you things before and you've seen those things come to pass. You have to know that God is in your corner concerning this, because this is not easy. Okay, this is not easy, and I do not recommend it for a person to do this on their own. You would drive yourself crazy. Especially if you're trying to figure out why they doing this, why they acting like this and that. Man, you been and went left. Okay, real fast. You went left quick. All right, so you need that. Divorcing your husband due to adultery is not always the best option. Okay, it is definitely an option when sexual infidelity has taken place, but it's not necessarily always the best. All right, it's not always the best. So I want to give you the definition of bondage, because this is what he's in. When this happened or whatever. And like I said, when I started off saying, I wanted to also warn my wives who are separated from their husbands, my wives who are not necessarily, getting their needs met sexually by their husbands. Go back and read Proverbs 5. That's all you got to do. When you start thinking like, okay, I'll bet this, go back and read Proverbs 5 and squash it. Okay, because that's gonna take you to hell. I'm just telling you right now. All right, just when you start feeling like, oh my God, just go back and read Proverbs 5. Just say, Coach, he told me to go back and read Proverbs 5, and then while you add, you can go ahead and read 6 and 7, and it'll let you know don't go there. All right. You have to understand this person is in bondage. All right. The person is in bondage. That is a state of being a slave. They're pretty much like a slave to what's taking place. All right. The word bondage is defined as the state of being a slave. So the term spiritual bondage, well, we don't have to get into the spiritual part, but bondage is basically you are a slave to what's taking place. All right. You are a slave to what's taking place. All right. And so I wanted to share with you these 3 points. All right. And leave you with this. When it comes down to this adultery spirit, when adultery comes knocking at your door, you can do these things. Okay, you can do these things. Well, when adultery comes knocking at your door, you need to know these things. Let's just say that, okay? You need to know these things. It can happen to any one of us. Adultery is not exempt. It is not exempt, okay? And I say that, and I say that with, for wives, for husbands, take heed. No one's exempt from it, okay? It can happen to anyone. It can happen to anyone. 1 Corinthians 10:12 says, so if you think you are standing firm, be careful. Be careful that you don't fall, okay? Don't think, well, I ain't never cheated on you, and I used to say that all the time, right? I used to say that, and I didn't. I had not, and all the years I've been married to my husband, I had not cheated. But what God started placing in my spirit was, you have to be real careful about that, because you act like that you can't, it can't happen. Like, it can happen, you so walking around here like I didn't do that to you, so I'm the good one over here. And God's like, you gotta be careful with that kind of stuff, because it can happen. It can happen to any one of us. No one is exempt. So what my prayer was, God, help me to not fall into this temptation. Lord, help me to not fall into, and when it does come up, or if it was to come up, Lord, help me to get out of it. Help me to, to get away from that. You have to pray yourself out of sin, people. You have to pray yourself out of sin, because it can happen. It can happen to any one of us. So you have to know that up front. No one's exempt. Your husband may be the one who did it, but it can happen to you too, wife. Okay? It can happen to you too. All right. Secondly, you have to understand and know consequences will follow. All right. And I want to sit on this a little bit. Consequences will follow. All right. A lot of times people think that they can just do whatever. And it's like, oh, well, you don't have but one life to live, so I'm just going to keep on living it. Listen, you ignorant. And I know I ain't say that right. But something is not right with you. For you to even say those words, I'm like, I got but one life to live. I'm gonna just live my best life and just do whatever. I'm only young one time. Or you have no idea. You have no idea the words that you are, how you are, entrapping yourself. You have no idea how you are putting yourself in a place of, you're going to fall, and it's going to be a great one, okay? You're going to fall, and it's going to be a great one. That's not how this go, people. This is not how this go. You have to understand, consequences will follow. Consequences will follow. Hello? Consequences will follow in this spirit of, with this sin of adultery. Point blank, period. That is Bible. Okay, this is what God's word says. Hebrews 13:4 says, marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure. But God will judge the adulterer. Okay, God will judge the adulterer and all sexual immoral. All right, it does not matter that everybody else is doing it. It does not matter that, oh, but this wife forgave her husband, so I guess, it should be all right. Or, this was okay over here, so I guess it'll be all right. It does not matter. There is consequences. There's consequences that you can see. There's consequences that you can't necessarily see. That things happen in the background that you don't necessarily notice taking place. You don't even recognize and realize the curse that you bring on your household. That spirit, bring that spirit back into your house, bring it around your children. You are bringing consequences on yourself when you step out in your marital covenant. It's consequences, okay? Consequences will follow. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, okay? It's a matter of when it's going to happen, because it's going to happen. A lot of people think they can just get away and just smooth, slick back on in. I'm going to just tiptoe back over here in my bed with my wife and just everything going to be fine. No, God ain't playing these kind of games. God is not playing these kind of games, okay? Not when it comes down to that. All right. Not when it comes down to that. God not doing that. All right. And so I share my wife all the time. You don't have to worry about revenge. You don't have to worry about revenge on your husband when this has taken place. Okay. Because God will handle this. All right. God will handle this. He will handle your adulterous husband, and he can handle your adulterous husband way better than you. What you need to focus on is you not falling. What you need to focus on is you not going down that route. What you need to focus on is you don't get caught up in that, okay? Don't be so, pointing, and then boom, that thing jump on your back. Because it can happen to any of us, all right? It can happen to any of us. And so, God will take care of the adulterous husband. He can do it way better than you can, okay? What you need to be praying and asking God is to give you wisdom, to give you courage, to give you strength, okay? To be there for your husband, when he's in that, when he's going through that season. You have to ask God to really help you to see him from a different lens and a different perspective. Ask God to teach you how to pray for him. Ask God to help you, help your heart, because it does damage to the heart. It's like, you feel like your heart is being ripped open when that takes place, and you have to really ask God to really come and touch your heart in that area. What wife, no wife, want to think about her husband being with somebody else? What wife want to think about her husband laying up and sleeping in a bed with another woman? Okay, especially when he doesn't seem like he's especially when it's like he's enjoying it, or he wants to continue in this. What wife enjoy, would be okay with that? No wife would be okay with that. And so you have to really ask God to give you wisdom in this area. And you have to, when I say really ask God, you have to get into that place. If you have to cry, scream, yell, beat something, over the head, go get in the car, right on the street, whatever, get it out of your system. Get it out of your system. All right. And so that's number 2. And then number 3, get rid of the monkey. Get rid of the monkey, all right? You got to get the monkey off their back, all right? And the only way you can get rid of this monkey is with the fire of God, okay? That is the only thing that can destroy this witchcraft attack in your marriage, okay? Luke 9:54 says, when the disciples James and John saw this, they asked, Lord, do you want us to call fire down from heaven to destroy them? Listen, witchcraft attacks cannot be dealt with just with you alone. You need the fire of God. You need the power of God to help you to pull down those things. Okay, that's something that you cannot handle those stubborn, wicked, evil, demonic spirits on your own. You just can't do it. It just won't happen. You need the fire of God. You need the fire of God to help you call down and destroy those things. All right. It won't happen. It won't happen on your own. You need God help. All right. When that monkey enters into your marital covenant and jumps on your spouse's back, you have to understand, and you have to know this person is no longer themselves. They are being swayed and taken and captured and hypnotized by another spirit. Something is taking over them. Okay, they're no longer themselves. And then if they're enjoying it, if they enjoying it and don't have no remorse or no, oh, I'm sorry, or I know I shouldn't have did that type of thing, you have to really, really go in. You have to really, really cry out for deliverance and salvation for your husband, because something has taken place and they are corrupt and their mind has been taken over by this spirit and captivated by this spirit, and only the fire of God and the blood of Jesus can deliver him from out of this pit. All right. And so I want to leave you with that. I do hope this have